Okay, here we are. Decided to start this video with some music playing in the background. Figure, yeah, not to be monitored. That way you're not necessarily wasting time watching this video if I'm not saying anything for too long. Alright, first things first. So I decided to write down, we're gonna go over, we'll start out with signs. So I was actually cooking earlier this morning, and then I kind of burned it. Fortunately, I only had it on number 3, so it didn't burn too bad. And you know, I caught it fairly soon, so it was still edible. And then what I decided to do, write up a sign: do not forget to always set kitchen timer alarm. Okay, so some of you might find this useful. It could save your life. You know, keep your home, house, or whatever buildings from being burnt down. So this might be useful to start implementing in your own life, and it's actually a very efficient thing to be. I think it's an efficient thing to do. Just label everything. I got, see, I found books, so financial tracking. Found a few blank CDs. These ones are actually blank, so I decided to label them after checking what was on them. And as you saw in my first update, okay, office room. Oh, I gotta turn on the light here. Okay, now we can see bedroom and bathroom, and yep. Well, we'll get to that later. Anyway, on to the next thing that I wanted to go over. Recently, well, I got back from Herberger's yesterday, and this here is one of the fixtures. Well, not I actually picked up a whole bunch of it. I had to disassemble it, and so I got a bunch more here because I'm trying to, you know, like I was saying before, having lots and lots of stuff, it's not an asset, it's a liability. Because, I mean, look at how much work I gotta do. Seriously. I gotta get these books sold, I gotta get pictures taken of them, including the ISBNs and so forth, write down, you know, their conditions verbatim so that customers have an accurate description of what they are. I still have 5-star rating on my Amazon account, as far as you know, I haven't checked for a while, but pretty sure it is, because it's been that way for the last couple of years. And yeah, you know, I've gotten some very good reviews because of the way that I you know, do my business as honestly as possible. Anyway, regarding those fixture thingies, I was actually putting them together last night. I waited until this morning when the sun is up so that it's not going to be so dark looking at this. Unfortunately, I think I was like putting this together the wrong way, so a bunch of these clips, they ended up kind of breaking because of the weight of the glass. So I think what I probably should have done is, instead of having, alright, so you know how let me grab one of these. Yeah, and actually while I was at the store, that happened sometime between 12:05 and 12:10 p.m. yesterday, I was, you know, it actually shattered while it was in my hand, and I was like, oh geez, that was kind of weird. Maybe I accidentally used my kung fu, or something paranormal happened, possibly both of them. So anyway, instead of you know, having them set up like this, I probably should have set it up this way, where I just put them together. You know, that way it kind of makes like a cylindrical box sort of thing. Just imagine another one over here, and then another one here, and then get the clips instead of trying to set them up this way. So just imagine this. Okay, how I'm trying to explain it is basically, so these large glass pieces here, just imagine that they're lying down on the floor, and then these ones are up, and then so I would be, that's the way I probably should have been assembling it. That way I wouldn't have lost, you know, broken so many of these little clip things here. But maybe I can just go back to the store again and, you know, ask them to see if they got any more of those fixture clips. Alright, oh, where did I put my... Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, yeah. Organizing your receipts. Okay, as I mentioned before, labeling stuff is very important so that you know where things is. So yeah, the sticker, I probably need to put some scotch tape over this. Don't really have any room, but I'll show you. I actually have a bunch more receipts, but what I do with my receipts is I typically just put them into these kinds of envelopes. Okay, so this way it keeps it very organized, and typically it's going to be a receipt that is, you know, coupons. So the receipts are going to be I usually have them in reverse chronological order. So the newest in the front, and then the oldest in the back of the envelopes. But guess what I found going through my stuff here? There is another box. We're going back into this room. Okay, this is the this box. Can you believe this? More receipts. Holy cow! I got more receipts to go through. So this is going to take a bunch of time, as if this stuff doesn't already take a lot of time as it is. Okay, and then, so you notice I actually moved my bug-zapper from here, so I'll wash these dishes after I finish this video. But, yep, over here, because somehow a fruit fly ended up getting in here, maybe two of them. I'm not sure why they, you know, got here or decided, probably because I had the air conditioner blasted on high. And so I decided to put it in here. I heard a couple of zaps since last night, and not too many, and just a few minutes ago. And I usually like to wash all my clothes each day, a little bit at a time, so that way I don't have to bother using the, I mean, I hand wash it, then I rinse it, wring it out, and then I just hang it. Instead of just putting it into the, you know, dumping it into a laundry bag. But speaking of which, I decided to move it all here. All that's really left, that's laundry. So my hamper bag thingy. This one, yeah, all of the whites. So once that's done, it'll all get bleached. I got, oh, another thing that we've, yep. So I moved the bed because I needed some space to move around. Yeah, I had to show the receipt stuff on the floor here because I didn't have any room on the table. Put this back. And I gotta turn this light off. Probably be a good idea to turn the light off. Okay. What else do I want to go over? Oh yeah, and then there was also a, I received a response on one of my posts that I posted to Craigslist looking for some help with all of this stuff. And the guy was kind of thinking that it was a little bit suspicious or whatever, and like, you know, as if though I'm asking people to write books. No, I got books that I need to sell. So I'm going to be using this video as part of my response to that inquiry, so that he, you know, this way he knows exactly why I posted it, and the reason for. I mean, you know, I don't know, like, what would you do if you were in my situation? Seriously. You know, I guess it would be helpful if, you know, there was like some sort of wife or whatever, you know, to assist me. You know, do you think that would fly? Hey, random girl over there, come and, you know, be my wife real quick. We got a bunch of work that I need you to help me with. Yeah, I don't think it quite works that way. And in all honesty, speaking of wives, some people might be wondering why I'm not, you know, so-called married yet. You know, considering how much, you know, popularity that I've had with, you know, girls trying to get my attention over the years, you know, it's kind of odd. You know, I was just, I don't know. Anyway, during high school, one of the girls, you know, told me that all of the girls from that other class, you know, they all liked me, and you know, I did notice. You know, it wasn't something that I really picked up on because you know, I'm actually a really late bloomer, so that's probably one of the reasons why. And But in hindsight, being 2020, I now realize that, you know, a lot of them were actually trying to get my attention. I suppose it's one of those things where, you know, if you know, they think you're ignoring them, then, you know, they might. I've heard people, you know, theorize, say that they see it as a challenge, and then, you know, they want to, you know, try to get your attention. So that's the idea of what it is. Okay, so we've gone over useful stuff today. I got more receipts to organize, try to figure out how to create some space. I gotta still label all this stuff. At least I've gotten a few things done, but I still have a lot more work to go, because these boxes over here apparently have more papers in them, and I gotta, you know, separate it out. Actually, there's one last thing. So at least I include useful information in this video. So, like, you know, these little things from the store, I actually save them, because sometimes, you know, with all of the stuff that's here, and I can label it that way, at least I know where things are, right? So these are, yep, they're not nails, yep, those are screws. Okay, so as I find random things, at least I'll have a place to put them. And I think it's important to label things, because, you know, when you label stuff, and then up here I got, what is this? Instructions for, what's this making? Oh yeah, this is for making those flour tortilla things, and then this one's for waffles. Okay, so to end this video, I'm going to talk about, I also stand here right in front of the peace flag, and talk about how when you label where things are, then, you know, I think it makes life a lot more efficient. You know, having a good, useful, efficient home life or whatever, like personal life, or just the way that you do things in general. I mean, all of the major, very, very successful businesses do it. If you go to a grocery store, for example, you know where to find things, because they label everything. You know, you look up, you know, that's where the dairy section is, that's where, you know, the bread can be found, and that's where the pasta, condiments, and so forth. You know, it's usually going to be hanging down from the ceiling, so, you know, you'll be able to quickly identify where to find stuff. Now, if you know, for some reason, a lot of people in America, the so-called United States, which people don't know is actually a corporation, you know, become pack-rats. And George Carlin has talked about this. Hopefully, my audience knows who George Carlin is. You know, says that, you know, it just seems that people collect stuff and more stuff, and then what do they do? Collect more stuff. Okay, but it's useless to collect stuff. As I've, you know, demonstrated, stuff is not an asset. It is not good to have stuff. Because look how much time it's taken me. You know, now that I've had to, it's been dumped on me after, you know, he died and left it all behind. It's really not an asset. It's a liability, because it takes so much time to keep track of all of it, trying to figure out how to keep track of all of it. So that's one of the reasons why I started writing up these signs. That way, you know, I'll at least know where things are or what they're for. And then I found a bunch of, you know, my old books too. So I got international. So I studied a lot of languages as well. So in case I haven't mentioned it before, or people don't know, I do speak several different languages. But unfortunately, I am actually forced to focus so much time on law stuff. This is actually the law dictionary that I was going over earlier, looking up a few things, because, you know, because of the police state that we live in, which is unfortunate. But I do know what is effective, and, you know, what needs to be done. It's really a lot of paperwork, but, you know, if you learn it, then eventually you can sort of become free in a way, even though you're kind of having to write up all of these documents or study this law stuff practically every day. And you're not going to become free overnight. This stuff takes time to learn. We're talking like night after night after night, late into the night, every single day, every single night, you know, for several years, you know, before you really start to get this stuff. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, in order to really start to understand, you know, the so-called legal system and all the the law-related issues that plague our anti-society, I'll call it. It takes at least a year of studying the law on your own, not from a law school. Don't learn that indoctrination crap, because they those institutions are more indoctrination than education. So they're not going to teach you the truth. They're going to give you a perverted version, or even outright completely inaccurate information. That's one of the reasons why you almost never ever see lawyers successfully ever get a case dismissed, because they don't know how to. The only thing that they teach them in law school is essentially how to negotiate for a plea bargain and essentially collect their fees. Beyond that, they're pretty much useless. So they don't really, I mean, you can do that yourself. If you're just going to be accepting a plea bargain, then what do you need a lawyer to do that, for you, for? So anyway, I guess this video has gone on longer than I intended. But anyway, we've covered important information today, so I guess we can safely end here. Alright. Hope you guys have a nice, free day away from despotism and tyranny. Good luck to you. Until next time, goodbye.